Shout out to that guy that said, this is pretty much like the Beauty and the Beast of Diecast as well. Appreciate that comment too.
Obviously, beauty, right?
That there will be a Ferrari RC car.
I made sure I featured in a lot of my reels and things like that, just to really get the Boy Racer Ben name out there, and I think it's worked.
I do like a nasty little mainline.
So if you're watching this and it's not available in your country, sorry, but it is available in ours, and I'm pumped for that. Mate, that thing had not been on a website for 5 minutes before it was in a cart and pre-ordered.
Mini GT create this to compete with Pop Race.
Welcome back to the Diecast podcast, episode number 2. Ben, how you been, mate?
I'm good, mate. Very well. Very excited after our first episode. I'm excited to crack on and get stuck into the second one.
Let's do our best to keep this one shorter, eh?
Absolutely, yeah. 2 hours. Let's try keep it under an hour this time.
Hour and 59.
Let's do it.
All right, mate. Well, let's dive straight into a video. My turn to pick this week. Not sure if you've seen this one. I know it had a fair few views, so there's a good chance you probably did.
Yeah.
Hit play when you're ready, mate.
Done. I haven't seen this one, so let's check it out, see what you've picked out. Okay, context on the video, we've got someone with about 2,000 RWB white Hot Wheels Porsches. My first question is this a reseller? And my second question is, how many Porsches do you think are there? I think there's well over 1,000.
I was going to say the same thing. I thought that when I watched it, I thought, how many is that? And also, why? Why are they all laid out on the floor? That's the other thing. I mean, content, I suppose. But yeah, there'd have to be 1,000. Have to be.
How did they get them, and what have they done with the other cars? Surely it's got to be a seller, and they've just pulled the cases apart. A bulk seller.
Surely. I had the same question, so I dug deeper into the account, which we will post up here. And he's done similar videos before with other diecast models, specifically ones where, people get a bit of FOMO around popular models. But yeah, interesting nonetheless.
I will say I did buy that set, particularly for the Porsche. I missed out on the black one, and I really wanted to add an RWB Hot Wheels Porsche to the collection, so I did pick up a case. That was actually a really good set. That was, what was that? Silhouettes, wasn't it?
Silhouettes. Yeah, Silhouettes. Yeah, it was. It was a really good set, that one. There wasn't a car that I didn't like, to be honest. Although I wish the Chase was a different car.
That's right. I did get the Chase. Now it's all coming back to me. Leading on from there, I guess we crack straight on and let's move on with Hot Wheels, the latest news and what's happening with Hot Wheels at the moment.
Yeah. One of the biggest bits of news coming out of Hot Wheels is their brand new line, RC. To be honest, I didn't see this one coming. I didn't really hear any, there was no leaks or tidbits of information prior to it being announced, at least from what I saw. And to be honest, I'm quite impressed that they've managed to fit, I guess, all of the mechanisms and everything else that they need inside a 1/64 scale car. What's your thoughts?
I mean, firstly, you would have seen the older the older Hot Wheels RC cars.
Yes.
So this one's obviously been jazzed up quite a bit. So the car we're looking at now is the Pandem R32 Skyline. So I think they've chosen a perfect model to get started with the RC car. This one is definitely a lot higher tech than the previous RC ones, and it's an RLC release, isn't it?
Yeah, that's my understanding. Definitely one that will drop on Mattel Creations, similar to the RLC. I'm not 100% sure if you need to be a member or not. I didn't suss out that information.
I mean, something to look into, and it does line up. I guess it should drop about the same time as the podcast drops. So it's due from now 6 days, whether that's one day when the podcast releases or the day of the podcast releases. But I did actually see this one coming, and I have had a hint of Hot Wheels remote control cars coming back into play.
Yeah,
And
okay.
a little hint, I have had some information that there will be a Ferrari RC car. I don't know
Yeah,
what model,
right.
but we will see a Ferrari RC in the
There you
future.
go.
And there have
He's
been
got the
little hints
inside word.
dropped. There have been little hints dropped before, but you really needed to be paying attention and reading deep into some content to see that.
There you go. Oh, I completely missed that one, mate. I haven't seen anything in relation to RC other than the R32, but I did wonder, being that they've released this, and look, watching some of the videos that Ministry of Diecast and Lamley and people like that posted, it looks like it's quite the goods as well. It doesn't look like it, crawls along the floor and really doesn't respond well. It looks like it really gets up and boogies.
It looks a lot more responsive than the previous models. Like I said, a lot more high tech now. We've got underlights, headlights that work. I guess I'll lead in by saying I've thought hard about this one and I won't be picking it up. How about yourself?
You won't be.
I will not
Look,
be.
I'm going to try. Honestly, to be very honest with you, I expected it to be more than what it is. I know there's a few people that sort of balked at the $96 price tag. Obviously, it'll be over $100 AUD by the time you add your postage, etc. But I thought it would be more, considering if we jump over to a couple of the new RLC releases, you've got the Chevy Bel Air Gasser, and then after that was the 81 Toyota SR5 four-wheel drive. I liked the Toyota. Always been a bit of a Toyota fan. Gasser wasn't my thing, but I was shocked at the prices of those two RLC releases, which is why I didn't purchase them. The Gasser, when it was selling at $53 AUD, and the Toyota was 58 AUD. Now, by the time us Australians put $35 postage on top of that, you're looking at a very premium model. There's a lot of other brands that you could argue do as good, if not better, in relation to detail and parts and so on and so forth. What's your thoughts there?
Myself, not been a massive Gasser fan, and obviously I don't mind a pink car every so often, but looking a bit deeper into this one, this has got the classic plastic wheels on it, doesn't it? Is that something that you noticed?
I didn't take too much notice. Is that the Gasser you're talking about?
The Gasser is rolling on the classic plastic wheels, so I haven't looked
Okay.
into it too deeply, but it's the
Didn't
same as
take
the
much notice.
RLC Ferrari twin pack that one of them had the classic wheels on it.
Yeah, righto. Yep. The traditional red lines.
Yep. So myself, just not being a Gasser fan. If I were a Gasser fan, I think it's probably a car I would have picked up on. The Toyota, a little bit overpriced. I do like a Hilux. I don't like it in the Spectra Flame paint, and that is one thing I was a fan of. When we got the Honda Integra, when they started putting out just original factory paint colors, moving away from the Spectra Flame. I was a big fan of that, and I think something like this Toyota would have done really well.
Yeah, I would tend to agree that it's got that classic Toyota livery, and it does look really good. But I'm with you. That chrome effect of the Spectra Flame doesn't quite hit, to be honest. I know there'll be a bunch of Hot Wheels fans that disagree with me, but for me, I probably would have preferred just an original paint, like you say.
Yeah, the blues, but the blue Spectra Flame on this one it doesn't do it for me. It's just the colors are wrong for me personally, and that's one reason that I moved away from it and didn't pick it up.
Yeah, and the other one that was released in the Elite 6.4 range was the Porsche 963. I did pick this one up. I ordered it at the same time as the Radford that was released previously. Look, it's probably not my favourite Elite 6.4. Well, I haven't got it in hand yet, so I can't judge it too hard. But as far as the various different models, what I do like about Elite 6.4 is they really you really don't know what's coming next as far as they really dive all over the place genre-wise. But it's I kind of like that. It's kind of what I really like the Boulevard line, and that does a very similar sort of thing. That just cars from all different walks of life. And the Elite 64 is doing a similar sort of thing. I grabbed it because I've got all the Elite 64s and I didn't want a gap, but I'm keen to get this one in hand.
I mean, for me, Elite 64 is something that I've steered away from a lot lately. I think the one release I did want was I think it was the Porsche, the Advan Porsche, was in a 911 Advan Porsche. That was one that I missed out on. I really wanted that one. But the Elite 64 just hasn't been doing it for me lately, so I chose to steer clear of this one. And having a sneak peek from Langley recently, I think a lot of the future Elite 64s I'll be steering away from as well, and probably more sticking towards the RLC line.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm the opposite. There was a few RLCs that were sort of announced that I was pretty keen on, but I was really keen on what's coming with the Elite 64. I really liked that 75 BMW. That looked really cool. Got a big grin on your face.
Yeah,
it's just not your thing.
I'm glad we're on the same page with this again.
Yet again.
RLCs, something that we both did agree on. We've got a beautiful, it's a purple color, and it is the Chevy Nova, a sneak peek release we had from Langley as well. What's your thoughts? Because I know we both agreed this one is an absolute marvel of a RLC car.
Yeah, look, when I saw this on Langley's, to be honest, when he first said Chevy Nova, before he pulled it onto screen, I was like, yeah, pass. And then as soon as he got it in focus, I went, oi, that's really nice. It's done up in a drag spec, which I think for an Aussie car fan, that is how we see a lot of those sort of cars, those American muscle cars. We see them down at the drag strip, and it looks really good. I was really impressed with, especially those rear wheels. They look really tough.
Yeah, and I think the purple as well, when you see it just glimmering in the light, it just looks magnificent. Removable front end, so the whole front end clip comes off and exposes the engine bay.
Yeah,
Massive
really
fan.
cool.
I think this one is going to sell out fast. So I think this one is going to be one that we're going to have to be onto when it drops. It's definitely not going to be a Skyline
agreed.
or an RW Porsche, but I think it's something that we're going to have to be on the ball with, and we're going to have to get that in the basket ASAP.
Yeah, I agree. This is the kind of car where Spectra Flame works really well.
100%, yeah, definitely.
What else did you see? You watched the Langley sneak peek. What else did you see that caught your eye from the RLC range?
So something I think a lot of people have been talking about, a little bit of a controversial RLC that will be coming out in a future line, and we're talking chasers here. So we're talking the Porsche.
Yeah, the Porsche Targa. Look, I agree with you. This one really caught my eye as well, but for the reason, not really because of the chase. I thought that was an interesting development in 2026. We discussed in episode 1, around the chasers being a different car in the car culture series, and then RLC releasing a chase now. Obviously, Hot Wheels as a business are thinking about different ways to market their product and thinking about different things, which is great. It's great that they're looking at how to do things differently. But to be honest, if I order that Porsche and I get the chase, I'm actually going to be upset because I really like that root beer colour.
Look, this caught my eye. There's been a lot of controversy over the chase. There's a lot of people that are hating the chase idea. A lot of people that are loving the chase idea. This car, chase or the root beer color, I don't want either of them. I won't be ordering this one. A lot of hate towards the chase, as in people think that Hot Wheels are just creating even more FOMO than what there is already. I absolutely love this RLC chase idea. I think it's awesome. And you give me an RLC car that I love, I'll probably be ordering 2 of them trying to get that chase.
Yeah. Look, I think the chase is a great idea. Look, in most cases, obviously you can overdo the chase thing, and the whole point of the chase is to keep it somewhat limited. Not everybody should be able to get their hands on a chase. But yeah, look, it's something different. Play on, I reckon. For any brand that wants to try something different, provided it doesn't impact the original car. You've still got a main release that people can get their hands on. If there's things like chases and that are just incentives to go and grab one, put your hat in the ring and try and get a hold of a chase, by all means, I would encourage this sort of stuff.
The only thing I don't like is when we look at something like an R34 Skyline or an RWB Porsche is how much is that chase going to go for on the secondary market? It's going to be absolutely ridiculous. That's the only thing I don't like. An absolute scalper's dream, an RLC Porsche chase.
Yeah, that point I can really see. There's definitely going to be those who would say the chase isn't a good idea because of the fact that the RLC itself is already a scalper's dream. The fact that it's limited, there's certainly some models that are already hard to get your hands on. We discussed the RWB in the last episode, but this is what, to a degree, this is what makes the hobby go round, is the fact that there is desirable models, and there's plenty of models that some people really like and others don't, and that's what keeps the community floating. But every now and again, there's a model that comes up that everybody likes, and it's I guess it's one of those things that drives the excitement to a degree by having it somewhat limited and being able to get your hands on things. It's kind of what makes it special in some ways.
Look, and the more people that go crazy for Hot Wheels, the more people it draws into the hobby, and hopefully the more people that realize how many more better diecast brands are out there, and it's a whole world of opportunity. And it's a good time to be a diecast collector because all the brands are fighting it out at the moment for the best cars.
They really are. Competition makes the whole hobby lift. So it's good to see. It's good to see.
So talking chases, back to chases, we are getting the Fast and the Furious 25th anniversary set coming out soon. So a very boring set. However, we did have one piece, and we discussed this last time. We have the Mitsubishi Eclipse being released, and I know this is something you don't know about yet. So Hot Wheels, this is one thing I don't like. Hot Wheels Mattel, they are calling the Mitsubishi Eclipse a chase. So you will get a chase in every single case. So no case will miss out. So from the sounds of it, a case of cars, you'll get your 10 cars in a case, and it will have one Mitsubishi Eclipse in the 25th anniversary set. So you'll get a couple extras of the other cars, and you'll get one Mitsubishi Eclipse, which is in Spectra Flame green, and they're calling it a chase, but it will be in every case.
So okay, yeah, I didn't know that. So the pictures that I've seen have 5 cars plus a chase, and one of those 5 cars is an Eclipse. So does that mean you're getting?
I believe it's 5 cars, and the chase is the Eclipse.
Okay, yeah, right.
It's very early days,
so
and it hasn't been 100% confirmed. But yeah, by the sounds of it, you may get 3 other cars and one Mitsubishi Eclipse. So I don't know if you saw it when they did, you wouldn't know either, but they did the Silver Line, the middle series, and they started releasing, they might put, say, one Porsche and 3 other models in, and it would make the Porsche rare out of the set.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. Look, for me, I still won't be buying the set. I'll just be happy to get a normal Mitsubishi Eclipse. We discussed that in the last episode as well. The Spectra Flame version doesn't do much for me. I know you're a bit of a Fast and the Furious fan, though. Where does it sit for you?
I am. For me personally, I prefer the original OG green Mitsubishi Eclipse, the Paul Walker Eclipse. The chase does nothing for me as well.
Yeah, there you go. All right.
They are releasing a Mazda RX-7, and that should be potentially in another set coming out after the Eclipse. Same thing.
Also in Spectra Flame.
In Spectra Flame, and I believe it'll be the same concept. So one chase per case. So whether you can call that a chase or not, I guess that's what Mattel are calling it. So let's call it a chase. I'm not a huge fan of it. Just putting one in a case, especially because the 4 other cars in the case are all peg warmers as well. So I think again, just trying to drive up the hype to get people to buy, a case of cars that's going to have one chase in it. So not a huge fan of it, to tell you the truth.
No, yeah, I'm really not a fan of it, to be honest. It would be a different story. It'd be a different story if the other four cars in there were actually something that was, hadn't been released before, and they were half decent as well. But you think about it, like let's say you really wanted one of these Spectrum Flame Eclipses or the RX-7, you buy yourself a case. What are you going to do with the doubles or even triples that you've got of the others?
Yeah.
Like I'll buy myself a case of Car Culture in the hopes of getting a chase. If I get a chase, beautiful. There's four other cars that I've got doubles of, and I'll move them on probably pretty easily most of the time. There might be the odd one that's doesn't move as fast as the others, but I'm only interested in having one in my collection. I'm not interested in having numerous. So in the case of this, you really are stuck. With essentially moving on peg warmers, like you say, at probably a loss.
And look, they wanted to do something special for the 25th anniversary Fast and the Furious. And look, if they were going to do something special, they should have put 5 sought after cars and really made the set special with the chase included. So for me, that's a big fail.
You know what would have been better, just thinking about it, is if they did a full 5 set in Spectra Flame.
100%. Also would have cost a lot. Not a lot of profit.
Would have cost a lot
as well.
But it would have been a proper tribute to the 25 years. Anyway, 100%. That's my thoughts. What else? I haven't really seen much else in the premium line. I think you did, though. What else have you?
You haven't.
You mentioned you saw some others.
So potentially up and coming car culture releases just been announced. Okay. We've got another Ferrari coming out, and it is the Ferrari Testarossa.
Nice. The original.
The original, yeah, 100%.
Beautiful. In white, hopefully. Miami Vice spec.
I dare say we'll see it. We'll see the Ferrari Testarossa in a red. That would have to be the guess, wouldn't it?
Not going to be mad about red. So that's good.
Look, for me, that is one that I will pick up.
100%.
It's no F40, but definitely one that I want in the collection. Definitely exciting times with what's going on with Ferrari and Hot Wheels at the moment and the potential future releases.
Definitely.
Yeah.
What, obviously, as we've discussed it before, but I really only get around the premiums. Have you got yourself the mainline F40?
I have got the mainline F40, and I will be using it for racing, and that's purely about it. I probably will keep one carded because I do like a nasty little mainline, but something that I don't collect too many of for other than the purposes of racing. Yeah.
No, fair enough. I'm looking forward to a premium at some point. Please hear my prayers. F40.
Look, I'm going to call it now. I'm going to say we're going to see a premium F40. Sorry, not a premium F40, an RLC F40 in the future. I don't know when, but surely the people are calling for it, and for me, it's going to happen. And it'll probably have a removable rear end. That's my call.
Removable rear end. Okay. Not just a lift-up rear end. You reckon removable?
Look, I think they'll go removable. I'm calling it. I think that's what
makes sense.
See.
Yeah,
I think
makes sense.
I think it'll keep the lines a bit cleaner.
Yeah, although they did a pretty good job with that Mangusta.
True. Yep.
The Lambo that they did was good as well. The mirror. Maybe they'll do something similar where the front hood lifts as well.
I did really like the Lambo, massive price point, and that will be the only problem with the F40. It'll have a massive price point, but it will sell out regardless.
Huge. Oh, yeah. Arguably, maybe the hottest RLC release ever.
When it happens, it will be, absolutely. One of your favorite brands, I can see it in the background. You've got a display there, Mini GT. Enlighten me on what's been happening in the Mini GT world.
Yeah, so we had the October release. They released the usual 6 cars. As much as I love Mini GT, there was nothing that caught my eye here. Usually I'll get around a Liberty Walk car. So they had the yellow Lamborghini Murcielago. like it's a recolor. It's another color of the Murcielago. The one that I was half tempted to take a plunge on, which may be surprising, was the M3,
Okay.
the M3 Touring, and that was purely because I thought it's in that same blue that Elite 6.4 did theirs in, and I just picked up that Elite 6.4. We spoke about it in the last episode, and I thought that'd be a good comparison. Elite 6.4 versus Mini GT. I wonder how they'd look side by side. So I almost took the plunge on that, but that was about the only one that half caught my interest. The rest of them weren't really my thing.
Look, I called that. I thought you'd be down for the M3 wagon. The RX-7, I think the RX-7 looks quite decent. However, it is very similar to the Pop Race RX-7. Was released after the Pop Race, so I'm almost questioning, did Mini GT create this to compete with Pop Race? However, I have a few Pop Race models, so this line from Mini GT, the latest releases, yeah, I'll be passing on all five of these ones, unfortunately.
Yeah. No, look, fair enough. Fair enough. The one that did catch my eye, though, separate to this October release, was the AO Racing new livery. What's your thoughts?
Absolutely. So we've seen the Rexy and the Roxy. What are we calling this one? Skeleton Rexy? What is it? The skeleton.
Yeah, I don't know what the official name for it is, but that's what it certainly looks like. It's like the bones, dinosaur bones.
Yeah, for me, look, Rexy, Roxy, extremely popular cars. We've got the re-release coming for the Roxy soon. For me, I think they should have left it at Rexy and Roxy. I don't like the color scheme, the color combo, so I will be passing on this one. However, I do think, the craze that follows Rexy and Roxy, it's going to be a super popular model. However, I did think super hard about this one, and I think just the FOMO fact of what it is almost caught me out, and I almost found myself hitting that pre-order button, and I thought to myself, do I really like this car? And I thought it just doesn't stand out. It doesn't have, that excitement when I look at it. So I decided to pass on it.
No, that's fair enough. Look, your comment around, they should have stopped with Rexy and Roxy. Look, I think they've got a deal. From what I can see, they've got some sort of deal with AO Racing. So I think you're going to find that they'll do every livery that AO Racing decide to put out. I mean, they've already done 2 Rexys, 2 Roxys, with a slight difference in livery between the two seasons. I think that was the difference in the livery, was the different seasons. And look, kudos to AO Racing for trying something different. Obviously, Rexy and Roxy are huge, instantly recognised in the motorsport world, in the diecast world. So it's credit to them for trying something different. They've still kept the same theme. So look, I liked it. I thought it was creative of AO Racing. I saw a lot of clips from on their socials where they really put a lot into it. Like they change up the pit crews uniforms and everything to match with the dinosaur skeleton and stuff on their uniform. I thought it was cool, so I ordered one. I only ordered the one Rexy and Roxy. I didn't order both liveries, and I am the sort of collector that sometimes I will do stupid things like order both liveries, even though they've got minor differences, like different color mirrors or a different number. But I have only got the one Roxy and Rexy. Let me just say right here, while we're talking about Rexy and Roxy, I am really off Hot Wheels version of these. I don't understand the hype at all. I think the models that Hot Wheels did with Rexy and Roxy were terrible, in my opinion, especially compared to Mini GT, and not just Mini GT, but Spark did it as well. They don't even compare. I know they're at different price point, but with the hype that we got around the Rexy and Roxy models in the Hot Wheels line, they ended up being dearer than what the Mini GT ones were, and the Mini GT ones were miles better. So just I get that it's there's people that are very much it ain't the same without the flame in that line of thinking, and for them it is about the fact that it is a Hot Wheels, not about the detail per se. But anyway, that's my 2 cents on the AO Racing. I've ordered one, and I'll be looking forward to putting it alongside the Rexy and Roxy that I've got.
Look, I agree. The Rexy and Roxy, absolutely magnificent cars, and will go down in Mini GT history as some of the best cars they've made in this period of time. And look, maybe I was a little bit harsh on the skeleton. I think it is a replica of a race car. I think they could have done the livery a little bit better. Maybe a little. I think it's the black. I think there's a little bit too much black in it. It just doesn't mesh for me. And you know me, it's more aesthetics for me. I have to look at it and love it. So, um,
Yeah. No, look,
but
I
you,
get it. I get it. Look,
but
I agree in that. I agree with that point in the fact that it's certainly not as iconic or eye catching as Rexy and Roxy. That's for sure. But it's something different. So kudos to them for that, I suppose.
and regardless, it's going to be a super popular model. It will sell out, and I'm sure
Definitely.
over time the prices will rise as have Rexy and Roxy. So definitely one to get hold of if it's your thing.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed. I want to be an early predictor here and say I don't think it's going to be as crazy as what Rexy and Roxy were. I think that there will still remain. They'll still be on the shelf. They'll still be able to. You'll still be able to pick these up.
Look, I think at the start, Rexy wasn't as popular at the start, and I think this one will follow the craze. So I think just going off the back of Rexy and Roxy, it will be a popular one. They will make a lot of them though to satisfy the
Yeah,
needs of the consumer.
yeah.
So I don't think anyone will have any problems. But once it's gone, it'll be gone, and I don't think you'll be able to get it again after that.
Yep. Yeah. No, that's fair. That's fair. No, look, it'll certainly sell well, sell well. There'll be plenty of people snapping it up, but I haven't seen any sold out bits yet. But that could be because the resellers have well and truly, ordered enough, knowing that it's going to be a popular model.
Absolutely. And in the mini car realm, moving on to the mini car Kaido House realm, something that caught both of our eyes was the BMW M3. You want to tell us about that one?
Yeah, mate. Yeah, look, I was. If there's any model that I've been excited about in the last 2 weeks, this was it. I'm a huge Larry Chen fan. If I'm going to sit down and watch a bit of YouTube, but Larry Chen is it. I love what he does for motorsport. I love what he does for the car scene, and I love that he gets around the diecast piece as well, despite having a fairly decent one of one car collection himself. But this is a Larry Chen mock up of his race car, his M3, but obviously Kaido House style. So this was released at the Peterson Museum event that Kaido House put on there. Larry Chen was also releasing his new book at that event, so it was fitting for Kaido House to put something out at the same time. I love it. Love that 711 livery.
Yep, so green and white 711 livery. This is one BMW. I may only keep one BMW Cato House in my collection, and I think this could be the BMW that I keep in my collection because yeah, it looks really awesome. Probably follows the hype of Hot Wheels. They did the Toyota Supra 711 version, so
Mm.
almost follows on from that hype. But obviously, yeah, being the Larry Chen version, I think this one's going to be super popular. It was marketed as an American exclusive, however, they do seem to be popping up all over the place. Not
Yeah, I
not
found
at
that
an
confusing.
yeah, not at an elevated price either. So something that everyone
Mm.
can sort of get a hold of and seems it'll be accessible for everyone. So yeah, pretty excited, and I'm super happy that it isn't just an American exclusive and it will be quite easy to get hold of.
Yeah, look, I was prepared to pay out the nose to pick up one of these. I'm glad I didn't though, because it wasn't only a matter of days before it landed in Aussie stores for pre-order. And yeah, like you say, at a regular price. So I don't know what the American exclusive bit was about, to be honest. Maybe it's not available in certain countries. So if you're watching this and it's not available in your country, sorry, but it is available in ours, and I'm pumped for that. But while we were there, at the Peterson event, the other big news that came out of Kaido House was their collab, their second collab with DGK, the skate brand. I've always been a big fan of brands like DGK. I like what they do. I thought it was cool when Kaido House got into bed with DGK the first round. I was pretty keen to pick up that 34, I think it was, from off the top of my head, the purple one. That was pretty cool, a pretty cool model. And so now they have brought out another collab with DGK, that is the Toyota Corolla A86. This one I'm pretty pumped for as well. I don't know if it's going to be as crazy to get your hands on as the last one with DGK, but hopefully not. Hopefully you can pick it up at a decent price because it looks pretty cool. I like the livery on this.
Look, it's very similar to the 711 livery, isn't it? Same colors, red, green,
Yeah, it is
white.
similar.
For me, the AE86, I am going to stick with one piece and I'm going to take the original white over black, the first release that's coming out. And I don't think I'll be moving too far from that one. So I think I'll be passing on this one. Talking about the purple DGK variant, I wasn't a big fan of that, the same way that I'm not a big fan of the purple R34 that's just come out for release from Kaido House. I won't be picking that one up, along with the 3 other releases. You want to quickly cover those for us?
Yeah, October release. We got our usual 4 cars. Besides those specials that we just spoke about, we had another release of the S13. Look, I definitely like the original one that was released last month over this one, but obviously I'll still cop it. But that original livery was obviously, a nod to the OG S13. You can't go wrong with that. This one's more of like a drift car type livery, is how I would describe it.
It's the same as an S13 Hot Wheels livery, and potentially it was the same designer that designed the Hot Wheels S13 with the same livery. I can't remember the name of that livery. I'm sure someone can let us know in the comments though.
Yeah. Look, I'm not sure if Jun designed the S13 or not, but yeah. Look, I ordered it again. Look, I'm the same with you on the R34. Look, the R34 is starting to get to a point for me. Look, I'm a fan of the R34, but it's starting to get to the point where how many more liveries can we get on this car that look good? I don't think that the purple looks bad, but yeah, I've certainly got R34s in that Kaido House style that I like more than this particular one. We had the NSX. Now, this is another model the livery is based on the RC car version from Tamiya. So I know that's something that's close to Jun's heart. He's pretty keen on the RC space. So I understand why that one's come out in the same line as the Hornet and the Grasshopper. So this is the third one in that line. Look, it's for people that are a big fan of that space, I can certainly understand why they'd get around it. This one didn't ring a bell for me. The one that probably rang home most for me was the Clodbuster. I had a Clodbuster when I was a kid, so that one was I was a fan of that one. But this one, I get the reference, but didn't hit as home for me. My favourite from the lot, though, was actually the Chev, another Silverado, and I'm a big fan, regardless of who does it. I've got a couple of Hot Wheels versions as well of like a speed shop truck, the workshop truck, and I like that sort of design, that livery. So that was probably my favourite of the 4.
Look, of the 4, that's probably my favorite as well. I think I've said it before, but Kaido, especially of late, it's just giving out Hot Wheels vibes. And like you just mentioned, Hot Wheels has done a few of these sort of workshop sort of pickup trucks. I don't mind them. It is probably my favorite, but like I said, all 4 models, there's no real major standouts out of these 4 models. So for me, it's just the 711 Larry Chan BMW, and I'm more than happy to leave it at that.
Well, mate, at least we got you on side with one of them.
We did.
All right, let's move on. Still in that Mini GT camp, we've got BBR models. No October release as yet, but we did get some pretty cool images. You shared some with me during the week of the F40.
Future release BBR F40 coming out. We've got the lights up and lights down, classic red Ferrari. Nothing. I don't think it's something we need to dive too deeply in, but obviously an F40, so it's going to be a very popular model. I don't have a BBR model yet, and when the F40 releases, it will be my first BBR model.
Very good. I like to see it. I like to hear it. That's good stuff. I'm a big fan of the BBR models. I've been trying to grab as many of their Ferraris as possible. And so, I will be very keen to add both lights up and lights down into the collection.
Awesome. Pop race.
Yes, mate, you lead the way. These are your babies.
So IDE, Indonesian Diecast Expo, coming up soon. We've got a
very soon.
Pandem EG Civic release coming out for IDE. It'll be an exclusive model. Again, it's going with that sort of World War II bomber theme. So in like an army green with the shark teeth down the side, and eyes, the headlights almost look like eyes. So very, World War II bomber style. I can't decide if I like this one or not.
I'll give you my thoughts on it. I do like it, apart from the yellow wheels. Something about the yellow wheels that don't do it for me. I feel like it upsets the whole thing.
Yeah, look, it matches the Pandem sign across the top of the windshield. So I think that
Yeah,
I think the yellow wheels fit in with it nicely. I think for me, it's just this livery doesn't do it for me. I don't pick up other cars with this livery from any brand. It is a very popular model. The EG Pandem Civic, in my opinion, is the best diecast modified Honda Civic that you can buy.
yeah. Look, I would agree with. I've got the Pandem Civic as well, and I'm a big fan of what Pop Race have done there. But yeah, look, this one's a pass for me. I've got it. Like I said, delivery didn't speak to me. There was something I don't know. Maybe it was the yellow wheels. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know what it was. But yeah. Anyway, look, it's okay because it's an exclusive to IDE, and I'm not going to IDE, so it's probably okay that I'll miss out on it.
Look, I don't think I'll be paying exclusive prices for it. If it was at a regular release price, I'd definitely pick it up. However,
Yeah,
one car that did catch my eye today that I saw looks like a Pop Race model. However, it's been branded as an Xcar Toys model, and it's very similar to the Pop Race Toyota GR86. But this one's been labeled as a GT86 and branded by Toys. It's the first time I've actually seen this car just today. I've snapped a picture of it and you can see it right now. It's very similar to the Pop Race GR86. It's in a pink and a grey and black livery. 1087X, which they've done a few. Pop Race have done a few. However, this one has got a different engine in it. It's got a magnetic hood, the same as the Pop Race. However, it has got a massive, it looks like an LS V8 engine under the hood.
yeah. The supercharger sitting on top of it.
And it looks like the supercharger or manifold, it's hard to see. It sticks out of the bonnet as well. And what I like about it is it's a very authentic looking sort of drift car, and you will get drift cars like this with LS engines in it for that extra power. You know, the engine, just the engine setup intrigues me, and it actually makes me want this car. I think the engine details, from what I can see, look absolutely amazing, and I'd like to know more about this car. I only saw it today and have not seen it anywhere else. So absolutely no info about this car. Very interested to find out more.
Yeah, I'm really digging it as well. I'm really digging the livery. I reckon the livery looks really good. It's like a Japanese style art from what I can see. Looks really cool.
Yeah, so I mean, we'll put a picture up for everyone to see, but first time I've seen this car today, and it's unusual for a car like this Xcar Toys / Pop Race to pop out of nowhere and catch me off guard. So super keen to get a hold of this one when it
Wheel choice
emerges on
looks
the
cool
market.
too.
Absolutely, yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool.
Um,
Anything else from Pop Race with IDE?
that was all that caught my eye from IDE with Pop Race. However, moving on, we've just had our 6 Pop Race cars released for the month. And one car that did catch my eye and a new casting, the first release of this casting is the Honda NSX R, Type R.
Yes. Look, I have to add here that there's no wonder it caught your eye because it's pretty much the only car with any sort of colour bar the S13.
It is. It is this release. We're looking at a Mazda RX-8. We've got the Pan-Am Yaris. We've got the 280ZX, and it looks like the McLaren F1, and all of them are in either a grey or a carbon fiber wrap. We also have the
Which I don't
Pan-Am
mind.
S. Exactly. I mean, for me, this is one note. I do not like a carbon fiber full body in any diecast brand. You know that I'm super fussy in carbon fiber. You know, leave it on the hood, leave it on the spoiler, on the mirrors. But once you start wrapping a full car in carbon fiber, it's just not my jam. I understand a lot of people love it, but for me, it doesn't float my boat.
Yeah, look, as much as I may have sounded critical saying that the NSX was the only one with colour, I have bought several of Pop Race's full carbon models, and I liked them. I bought the NSX, the new model NSX. I thought that looked really good. I think I ordered the Porsche as well. I don't think I've seen that one yet, but I think I ordered that one. So look, I do like the full carbon piece. None of these really demanded me to whip the wallet out straight away. I'm with you. I really liked the NSX. I thought that looked really good in that bright yellow. And I might order one of those S13s just because you've already offered me one from China. Now I can just get one on my own. I don't need to rely on you and feel like I owe you for the rest of my life.
Yeah, look, we have the S13 Pandem Eva R release, the same one that we saw from the Xcar toys in China. Just a wheel change, so they've changed the wheels from, I believe, gold to more of a sort of silver grey colour. So super popular model. While I was over there, it was selling out, and I think this one as well will be a super popular model, and obviously why Pop Race have decided to re-release it and give everyone a shot at it.
Yeah, I will say I actually prefer the grey wheel over the gold. I don't know why. Normally, I don't mind a gold wheel normally, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like it actually stands out a bit better on this with that livery or something. I don't know.
Look, I like them both. I don't know whether I need another one. Look,
I think
we'll
you
let
do.
time we'll let time speak for itself, and we'll see what happens. But more than likely, I'll probably end up with another one.
Yeah, look, I dare say you will. I feel like you'll get to the shopping cart and not be able to help yourself.
Potentially, another one that I do like is the 280ZX. Look, the first release is in a nice red color. This
Yeah, I
one's in a
ordered that.
grey color. Yeah, I'll definitely be getting the red. I might be a
Yeah,
little
the
bit more
red looked really
selective.
good.
It does look great, and you know me, if I like a car, I'll definitely get it in multiple colors, as will you. I don't know whether I'll get the grey. I think again, I'll just let time be the judge of that.
Yeah, the other one that sort of tempted me, and I guess it's just the how iconic it is, was the McLaren. I feel like there's a lot of brands that try to do the McLaren. I bought that RLC McLaren. That was a shocker. Possibly one of the worst RLCs released. It's a terrible manufacturing errors on that thing. Might look, to be fair, compared to what I saw out there on the socials and things, mine wasn't too bad. But I've bought it in a few other brands, and I respect the original OG F1. I haven't got a Pop Race one. I don't know if you have, but I'm keen to pick one up at some point. I just don't know whether carbon is the color I want to get it in.
Look, if you like carbon, in my opinion, Pop Race does the best carbon designs. I didn't pick up a F1. I haven't picked it up in any brand. Just it is a super iconic car. I don't know what it is. I've got a complex about the F1 McLaren, and I've never loved it, even though it is one of the most iconic cars out there.
Yeah, to be honest, that doesn't surprise me. We have not had that conversation, but it doesn't surprise me because I know that at the same time you're not a huge supercar fan, and you definitely put the McLaren F1, in that supercar bracket. And
100%.
look,
Oh, it's
I'm kind of,
definitely, yeah.
I'm kind of with you. Like I do like my supercars, but the McLaren's certainly not. I know that a lot of people sort of put it right up the top in their, top three, or it's certainly revered. And I respect it for what it is and for what it was in its time. But it's certainly not huge on my list. It's not like I'm, if someone says you've got to come to the car meet on Saturday, there's going to be a McLaren F1 there. If I've got something on, I'm still going to what I've got on. I'm not changing plans. But different story if it was an F40.
Absolutely. Or a Fast and the Furious Super or something like that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Ti-
Yeah. No, what if it does it for you?
Tarmac Works, they've just had a bunch of new releases. We've got the Datsun 510, the Toyota Arista, the Mercedes 190e, the Toyota Sora, the McLaren MCL60, and the Vilside RX7. Any of those catch your eye?
Look, I've passed over a few Tarmac Works releases lately. I did get the F40 from the last one, but this one I've been hanging for. I saw a few sneak peeks of it and castings of it. That Aristo had my name all over it.
Okay.
I have been, as soon as I saw that they were doing that model of Aristo, and it's purely because I used to own one, I had to get my hands on it. So I was very excited when I saw that they were going to do a Vertex version of the Aristo. So, mate, that thing had not been on a website for 5 minutes before it was in a cart and pre-ordered by me.
Can I ask you what color yours was?
Blue.
So when they do a blue release, you'll be picking that one up for sure then.
I'll be picking up all of them. I'm a big fan of the Aristo.
Look, the only one that's caught my eye is the Veilside RX-7. So again, the Tokyo Drift style RX-7. This one's in a blue over black. So
Yep.
again, if I was going to pick one up, it would be the orange over black, just
Orange.
due,
Yep.
due to the Fast and the Furious. However, I did look a little bit closer at this casting, and I honestly, I think the Mini GT one is better. There's a just the rear window on the rear
Ooh.
there's a panel on the rear window that I'm not digging on this one. I think it does look good, but I'm almost thinking the Mini GT one looks a little bit better. So I definitely don't need two different variants of this one.
Yeah, look, I 100% agree with you, but that's probably not surprising coming from me. I do like some of the things that Tarmac Works do, but oftentimes what I like about Tarmac Works is they do a lot of models that other brands don't do. So I like to be able to pick those models up. But when they do something that is done by somebody else, typically, well, I can't just say anybody else, but typically I prefer the other brand. Tarmac seem to do a really good job with some models, and then there's some that I've picked up that I've just haven't felt 100% happy with. But anyway, look, they do a great job with some stuff. I'm pretty picky about what I pick up from them, but that Aristo is definitely coming home.
Yeah, put a Hello Kitty livery on that Arista, and I'll be picking that up as well.
I knew you were a Hello Kitty man.
I do have pretty much all of the Tarmac Hello Kitty variants out there. You know, the R8, the
Do you,
Vans, the S.
mate?
Look,
Learn
I
something
don't
new
mind.
every day.
I don't mind the Hello Kitties from Tarmac Works. Anyway, Oswheels. Let's have a look at what's been going on at Oswheels.
Yeah.
One of my other favorite brands. We've just had the Bathurst Racing Legends, I suppose you'd call them. Two LJ Tiranas, and I believe they're both actually Peter Brock variants. So super popular models.
I think so. Yeah, I think
We
so.
have an LX Tirana, I believe it is, and a XY GT Falcon, all in racing car liveries, classic racing car liveries. I will say I picked every single one of these up. We've got the Tirana in the classic Marlboro livery. Obviously, they can't put the Marlboro on the car these days, but I think it looks really good. And I really liked the XY Falcon as well. But yeah, like I said, picked them all up. Only available at Repco here in Australia. So unlucky if you wanted to get them anywhere else.
Yeah, look, I love the Marlboro livery. It's so iconic. You know, my love for it ties to Schumacher and that era of Ferrari as well. When they had that livery, look right across motorsport. Look, I get it. I get it. We don't want to advertise, certain products of yesteryear that were popular, but man, when you're recreating some iconic cars like this, like your old, the cars of this era, like I picked up a JPS BMW M3 not long ago as well, and I get why they don't do it, but it's not the same half doing it, and I just wish that wasn't a thing. I just wish that wasn't a thing, or it would be ideal if they did the decals for it, but they just didn't put them on the car and let you do that yourself. That would be awesome. I'd be stoked with that.
Yeah, look, you'd be able to get hold of some if you really wanted to. I'm sure I could even print some out. Oswheels Wires, they're releasing a couple of twin packs coming up. One of those twin
Okay.
packs is a VL. They call it the Hauling Kids Ripping Skids. So one of the cars from the twin pack is just a classic original variant that you would have taken the kids to school, and the other is a Rippin' Skids variant generally with a big blower out the back, a burnout car. The thing that caught my eye about this twin pack is that it's a VL twin pack, and being a VL owner, it has a white VL Calais over silver. So a classic VL color, my favorite color in the VL. I'll 100% be picking this setup. I'm not huge on the burnout variant. It looks like it's got the wording Havoc down the side. It's red. It's got a massive black blower sticking out of the bonnet. Look, I'm not sold on that one, but obviously being a twin pack, it's coming home. We're unboxing that one.
Yeah, look, I know Oswills is your thing. To be honest with you, I'm gonna be honest here. Whoever's looking after the naming convention at Oswills, like, they need some help, man. Somebody reach out to Oswills and help them out with their branding. Hauling kids, ripping skids, fully sick detail. Like, come on. For me, it's a turn off of the brand when I see those sorts of things. I get they're appealing. They're not appealing. They're not trying to appeal to me. They're trying to appeal to the Summer Nats crowd, the Boy Racer Bens of the world. And they're very successful at doing that. But for me, I see those sorts of things, especially branded halfway across the two pack. And I just think, nah, not for me.
Just,
yeah,
just,
get, right.
just,
Get your
just
mullet out.
seeing how the mullet's going.
Yeah. Yeah, look, I don't know. I just, I get it. But that's my 2 cents. I've said it.
Look, I'm sure there's a few things that Oswills could do better. However, they are the only company making Australian cars, and for that reason, I'm gonna love them. I'm gonna support them, and I'm
And I
just gonna keep
respect them for
buying
that. I
buying
do
their
respect
cars.
them for that.
Absolutely. And for the price point, we're looking at $20 a car for an FSD car, and in my opinion, that's I do hear people complaining that it's overpriced, but they just don't know diecast. And for what you get for some of these models, $20 is well worth it in my opinion.
Yeah, look, I'll absolutely come to their defence there. After a lot of coaxing and pressure and flat out bullying, to be honest, you convinced me to splash out and buy the. You will let me clarify. You said to buy a fully sick detail, because my biggest criticism prior to that of Oswills was the blacked out windows. I wasn't a fan at all of the blacked out windows, so I wasn't interested ever, no matter how much you pressured me. But once that issue was resolved, you encouraged me to go and try. So I bought the full set of 6, which surprised you a bit. I remember you saying, I didn't expect you to buy the full set. But look, $20, they are absolutely worth the $20. Look, there's better diecast out there, but for how long Oswills have been in business and for producing a casting that no one else in the world is doing, they're doing a fantastic job. And those fully sick detail ones, there'll certainly be more coming into my collection in the future. I'll just be pretty selective about them.
Absolutely. Look, Oswald's never intended to move away from the black windows. That was what they were going to go with. But the consumer, people like myself, we wanted the clear windows with the interiors, the hardcore diecast
Definitely.
collectors. And look, got to give them credit. They listened and they delivered. So,
yeah, no, kudos. Mate, what else have you seen that's caught your fancy?
let's move into what's been giving us FOMO. And I saw this. I saw a product, not actually a diecast car, a product that just came out recently, and I took a look at it and I thought to myself, wow, this actually looks really awesome and incredible. And it is, in fact, the Dream Customs Japanese highway matte. I guess it's like that in motion version. So you put your cars on it and it looks like they're moving. So the
Yep,
road's somewhat blurred. And
yep,
this one is, in fact, a Lamley um, collaboration with Dream
exclusive.
Customs.
Yep.
Yeah, so look, they, in my opinion, especially here in Australia, these are generally well and truly way overpriced. But look, I saw it and the photos that they were creating with the cars on it looked absolutely amazing. And I think, this is probably one that I'm going to have to pick up.
Yeah, look, I'm a big fan of Dream Customs. I've got a lot of their mats, and I have 2 of the Lamley exclusives because they really seem to I don't know whether that's Lamley's influence or Dream Customs saving the best designs for Lamley, but either way, they seem to come out with some good ones, and I noticed that too. That mat that you're referring to, it does look really good. The only thought that I had with that mat is it looks really good for still images. I don't know how my thought as far as whether I buy it or not is how often can I use it, in reels and video and
You're
things like
right.
that. And I feel like it's, there's that classic shot that's, I'm sure, is the same one that you're referring to, where there's a bunch of cars coming down the highway, JDM classics coming down that highway, and it looks awesome. But I was like, that's the money shot. How would it look from, the top, from the back? That's pretty much it. Once you sort of put out those three shots, done it in a couple of different variations with a couple of different cars, that's kind of it.
I agree with you. It would be purely for just taking photos. So if you want a good mat that you want to use for filming videos, I mean, one that, car park, drift mat that you want sitting on your desktop to roll cars around on as well. Look, you really need to be looking at the diecast culture, in particular, the boy boy racer Ben collab mat. Um, Look, for me, I like Dream Customs. I honestly think that diecast culture of, their new elite range is at a higher tier level when it comes to the design and print that's on the mat, um, in a non-biased way.
Yeah, look, I don't know if there's a way that you can do that non-biased. You should have just spoken to me beforehand, and I would have plugged your mat for you. But yeah, look, you'd think that obviously, we've been talking, been friends for a while now, Ben and I did see Diecast Culture did a mat for you, and I was pretty keen. I was sort of looking forward to, maybe getting, for once, maybe just getting a free something, just, sort of as like a, look, I'll promo it for you and things like that. But no, I spent my hard earned, paid full retail, and made sure I featured in a lot of my reels and things like that, just to really get the Boy Racer Ben name out there. And I think it's worked. You've done pretty well in the social sense. So you're welcome. Look, Diecast Culture, if you're listening, you're interested in doing a mini car realm mat, then I'm sure we could come up with something better than the Boy Racer Ben one if you're looking to take it to that next level. Or better yet, a Diecast podcast, Matt. Let us know.
Interesting, yeah. I mean, I don't know whether a fantasy mat would be one that would sell too well, but look, if you want to roll your Kaido stars around on a mat when they come out, it could be perfect.
That's exactly what I'm looking for, a mat to roll my Kaido stars around on. No, but seriously, all jokes aside, I did really like the Boy Racer Ben mat. It was very, very nice. Great design.
Listen, and a question that you asked me a little bit earlier might be a good way to end the show. You've asked me a little bit earlier, and I haven't actually answered it yet. But I'll throw the question back to you first. If you had to sell your whole diecast collection, and you could only keep one model, what would that model be?
Yeah, I've given this some thought. I'm going to be really honest here. If I had to sell every single 164 model that I had and keep one, I would keep my Hobby Japan Aristo.
Okay,
in the same blue that I had on my Aristo, and that's why, because I had the Aristo in the blue and managed to pick up the same stock version. So yeah, I know you've picked up a few Hobby Japans. Little plug for Hobby Japan, but they do a fantastic model, and that's probably the one that I would keep just for that sentimental value.
Japan Hobby, they do make really nice models. The thing that I do like the
Hobby
most
Japan.
about, yeah, the thing that I do like the most about Hobby Japan is the fact that most of the cars they make, they're not over the top. They are more along the stock line. So you're just looking at stock JDM cars, and look, they make really good stock JDM cars. I'm a big
They
fan
do.
of Hobby Japan. Don't always roll the best, but they do look great.
Yeah. No, very detailed, very, very accurate too, or definitely honour that OG stock look. So they do a great job in that space. What about you?
If I had to sell the collection and keep one car, the one car I could keep, I'll give you a quick guess. Take a shot. Which car am I keeping?
It's either got to be a gunmetal grey R32 or a VL.
Look, those are great choices. The car that I've decided to keep is the Pop Race Akasuka. And it is in the Fat 5, the exclusive Fat 5 racing livery, only because that car represents a great experience that I had, which was going to Japan to a pop race. event where they had the actual one-to-one Hakasuka wrapped in the Fat Five Racing livery and absolutely looked amazing. So it's got a really good memory involved with it. The car looks incredible. One that I know you were unable to pick up. Um,
Yep, good mate, thanks.
and that, and that is the car that I'm choosing to hold on to.
No, look, that is fair, and I think that is a good way to wrap up this episode in respect to, that's why we started this hobby. It's the memories, the experiences that we have tied to cars in general. Usually, there's a one-on-one car or an experience associated to one-of-one cars. That's really what this hobby does. The tiny cars are little memories. Yeah, that's obviously what makes us happy. So I think it's a good way to tie this episode up.
Look, and it's amazing for me to think that 4 years ago I did not own one diecast car, and now I have thousands of it. It was not even on the radar, something I wasn't interested in, and now I don't even know how I got here, but I'm here talking to you. And look, I'm having a great time doing it as well, and hope that we get to share a bit of this passion on the podcast.
It is amazing. It is amazing. For me, it was only a little over 18 months ago that I picked up a Hot Wheels twin packet Big W, not realizing that they did such a thing as premium. The rest was just a slippery slope. I think I just ticked over 1,000, I reckon, the other day. So I'll catch up with you one day, maybe.
Yeah, it's not about quantity, it's about quality, and that's what I like to preach. So
it really is.
Just
It really is.
Pick up your favorite cars. Stay away from picking up all those peg warmers, trying to complete Hot Wheels sets. Just pick up the cars that you like. I can't preach this enough. Something that I made the mistake when I started collecting, but hopefully that's a pointer that we can give to new collectors: is do not buy every single Hot Wheels that comes out. Just pick the cars that you like. You'll save money, you'll save space, and you'll enjoy it, and you'll probably stick in the hobby a lot longer and have a lot more passion and fun while you're doing it.
Yeah, look, I like to say less is more, except when it comes to diecast. But solid advice from you. Solid advice from you, Ben. Look, I have to say, as a wrap up of this episode, thank you to everyone who took the time to watch our first episode. I was blown away with some of the comments and love that we received from that very first episode. Shout out to the gentleman on YouTube that commented and said that my audio was shit. I've now fixed that. Hopefully, let's hope that audio comes through a bit better. Hey, that's what makes us better. He did also say that he was listening to the podcast while running. So shout out to him. I don't think I could go for a run and listen to the Diecast podcast, but kudos to him. That's awesome to know.
Shout out to that guy that said, this is pretty much like the Beauty and the Beast of Diecast as well. Appreciate that comment too.
Obviously, beauty, right?
100%.
100%. That's what I thought. Oh, that's how I took it anyway. So yeah, shout out to that guy. Look, if you have made it this far, please do us one more favour and share the podcast with somebody else that that enjoys the hobby. Help get the word around, and we'll see you on the next one.
No worries. Episode 3. Here we come.
You beauty. Let's get it.
Peace out. Catch ya.